Hi, I'm going to show in this tutorial, which I'll try to make as brief as possible, how a teacher can create um, a steady stream of work coming into them from their students' Notability. Um, this would be a way to collect work from students without the need to create assignments, without the need to have them email things, post things, screenshot things, really just effortlessly get their work as they're doing it, so that you can review it how you see fit. Um, my original vision for this was journals in English class, because it's, in an old school way, it was annoying to collect tons and tons of notebooks and walk around with crates of notebooks. And even in a digital way, it's bulky and kind of awkward to have them submit files they've been working on all year long. It's awkward to collect so many multi-page files. So how could you, when you wanted to check in and view one student's, two students, 5, 10, all your students' work, um, in a way that didn't create this deluge of assignments coming your way. So I came up with this, but it really could be used for anything. It could be used to check homework. It can be used to check the progress of major assignments, things that are going on through the term. And you want to check in and see that a student has an outline created, then you want to check in and see that a student has a rough draft created, and then you want to check and see peer edits, or however it goes. You can find an application for it, however you see fit, but this is the method that'll help you get student work submitted to you. And again, they don't have to do anything, you don't have to do anything. It'll just keep coming to you as they're working. So this view represents the student's iPad. And then at other times we'll go out to the Mac here, and this Google Drive view represents what the teacher sees, right? So let's go back to the iPad. So what you do is you'd have students set up Notability a specific way. So let's launch Notability. I have it down on my dock. And when you get into the Notability main menu, the first thing you want to do is make sure students are backed up to Google Drive. So down here in the settings, this gear icon, that's going to be my first stop. We're going to go to that gear, and we're going to see that students are auto-backed up. Now, I am auto-backed up to Google Drive here, and you can see that Google Drive is selected. It's grayed out, and it has, again, a settings gear, right? And I want to touch that and go into the settings just a little here because there's some cool things. When you're backed up to Google Drive, what will happen is, see it says destination folder. Notability will create a folder on Google Drive called Notability, and then it'll create subfolders for your subjects. Now, right now it has these subjects backed up. These are subjects that are already in my Notability, and the check marks means they are backed up. So I have these subfolders, right? And then any new folders I create, any new subjects I create will be backed up as well. They're backing up in PDF format. I'm going to touch that PDF and show you some things because there are other options that may appeal to you. You can back up your Notability notes in these formats, right? Now, RTF is not all that interesting to me because that only backs up typed notes, and I like to handwrite or have students handwrite as much as I can. The PDF and recording, RTF and recording, if you do a lot of audio recording, is great. The note format is actually a very interesting option because the note format would allow you to continue to edit your notes that are backed up to Google Drive. It would allow you to view things like web clips that are embedded. Say you embedded a YouTube video in a browser window, you could watch that in the note. A lot of cool things. The downside to notes is that they are not viewable on a computer. Notability is a mobile device app, and if you want to look at this and it's not on your iPhone or your iPad, you're out of luck. You can't view a note file on a PC or a Mac. So I'm going to stick with PDF. So I'm going to tap PDF. Here we are, right? So the student is sufficiently backed up. And now they're backed up to Google Drive, you can go ahead and create your subject. So I'm going to tap the plus icon on the top, and I'm going to create a subject. Now, you want to be very specific in how you guide students naming the subjects. I want them to do last name, first initial, the subject, and the period, right? So let's create that. Here we go. Frank, comma, K, English 9, period 1. All right. Now what's going to happen is that this is going to be shared, and that's how it's going to be shared with the student, with the teacher, and the teacher is going to see last name, first initial, the name of the course, and the period, and they're therefore going to be able to group all the students from the same class together, put them in a folder, and then view them as he or she wishes. So that's why I have the subject named as specifically as I do. Now that we have the subject created, let's create some notes. I'm going to go to the top right corner, the blue icon, tap on that, and create a note. I'm going to name the note, right? We'll call this one journal, because that was my original intention, was this is a way of monitoring and editing journals. And I just need to create something in the note field so that it backs up to Google Drive. So I'm just going to say Ken's journal, right? Now, I'm going to tap this left arrow icon here, the bookshelf icon, and we can see what happens, right? When I tap that icon, I'll be brought back to the main menu, and it says backing up, and it says finished, right? Now, what just happened is that Notability created a subfolder for Frank, K, English 9, period 1, and in that subfolder, it created a note called journal, and it preserved what I just did. Let's create one more note while we're still here, right? And we'll call this one homework, because that's another viable option of things to do here. You could look at kids' homework through this, right? And then again, I just want to create something, so I'm just going to write here, homework section, right? And again, I'll back out, and again, it'll say backing up, finished. Where's finished? There it is. Okay, so now I've created this subject. I've created 2 notes, right? I could go on and create other notes if I wished. However I want to go about doing it, that's up to the teacher. And I would instruct the students to create the notes they need, however you want to go about doing it. But now we're ready to share this with the teacher. So we're going to get out of Notability, and we're going to go to Google Drive. I have Google Drive in my dock in the bottom right there. And we see My Drive. I'm going to pull down just to update it, right? And I'm going to scroll through here, and alphabetically I see all my folders. And there we have Notability. Right here is Notability, right? When I go into the Notability folder, I see Frank, K, English 9, period 1, right? If I go into that folder, I see homework and journal, just like you'd expect. When I tap on homework, I see what I wrote, HW section. When I tap on journal, I see what I wrote, Ken's journal, right? So Notability did its job and backed up to Google Drive like I expected it to. Now I want to share that. So I tap on the eye icon over here, right? I tap on the eye icon and it'll give me the option to do some things, right? I'm going to share with my teacher, right? So I'm just going to enter that in, right? And now that is shared, okay? So we can leave the student's iPad for a minute, go to the teacher's Google Drive over here on the Mac, right? So the teacher would find in the Shared With Me folder, look at that, Frank, K, English 9, period 1, right? Now notice that there's other students. I have Smith, I have Adams, right? All 3 of these students are in the same class. So let's go back to the teacher's drive. Let's create a folder, and let's call it English 9, period 1. Okay, so now I have a folder there. Let's go into Shared With Me, and let's move these 3 students into that folder. So I'm going to go Move To, English 9, and now when I go to my drive, in that English 9 folder, I have my 3 students. So the teacher has this folder named after the subject and period, and the students are in here, and you can kind of see what the advantage of this is. So now if I view the homework, it'll say exactly what the student wrote in the homework section of his Notability. And if you go into journal, it'll say exactly what he wrote in the journal section of Notability, right? Now, just to kind of show how this continuously updates, let's go back to the student iPad, right? And if the student goes back to Notability, right, let's have the student go into his journal again, right, Ken's journal, and let's write a little. All right, if I said this is my first entry, right, and just to kind of prove the point further, let's have the student add a sticky note, All right, let's go into sticky. Let's make it a typing sticky. And the student will say, hey there. All right, let me move that over here. Okay, so now I have new writing and a new typing sticky in here. I'll back out. Notability will update. Okay, and now let's go over to the teacher's Google Drive again. Over here, let's just refresh the website, right? And if I go into the journal, there is not only the new writing that was just done, but also the typing sticky, right? So every time the student goes into Notability and does any work, it'll be dumped automatically to the teacher's Google Drive, and he or she can view it whenever they see fit. So I hope that is helpful. And if anybody has any comments or suggestions on how this could be used or further, tweaked in a way that's beneficial, I would love to hear it. Take care, and I hope you enjoyed that.